In this episode of Memory Lane, I'll be talking to Dahlia. I talked to Dahlia on this program about 3 months ago. Today, she has moved to a different state, and her story continues to get more complicated. For those of you who either have forgotten what Dahlia's story was, or who did not listen to that episode, here is a 5-minute summary of some of the things that Dahlia and I spoke about last time, followed by her update. Enjoy. Can't be Dahlia and have mommy issues? So it's been quite a while since anyone's heard from you, and things were going so well for you. Why don't you update us as to your life? When we had the interview on my now defunct sex show.
Right. We discussed my history as an internet sex star,
which
as
I'm
I recall.
Still jealous of.
I now have 17,000 followers. We are now known on Tumblr as Sex Stars. I am leaving the region, and this could totally torch all future relationships for me. I'm in a polyamorous, open relationship. He is long time married. I really wanted to feel like I was equal to her. He was like holding my shoulders right there in front of the refrigerator. And he's like, I have to tell you something. I said, what? And he goes, she's pregnant. In retrospect, I should have just been like, get the fuck out of here. Obviously. I mean, after that, I pretty much just went crazy. I was coming up with crazy ideas like, oh, I'll get pregnant. It got to the point where drama escalated between me and his wife. And he said that she had panicked. She sent me an email saying, I think it would be better if like you dated other people. Is pretty much what she said to me. I was like, yeah, sorry. So I kind of see myself with him for the long term. I'm not going to do that. Her response was just like an explosion. She's like, I've been with him since I was 13 years old.
Well, she's been with him since he was fat.
She's like, we're married, we have a house together, we have a kid together, and another one on the way. She's like, you're never going to have this with him. That's pretty much exactly what she said. I just have a habit of letting myself get mistreated for the sake of just someone's attention. I wanted to sacrifice anything to stay with him. I mean, there were times I just babbled about, I don't need any of those things. I don't have to have kids. Some way that we can make this work. If that means like I move in a house right next to you guys and I still give you space, and it's just such silly babble now. I need control. I didn't want a revenge baby. I wanted him to want a revenge baby. I understood that I had been wronged, but I guess I thought there was something fundamentally wrong with me too, and just like I was so flawed. I mean, I think it taught me a lot because I've totally switched gears from when I said I don't need those things. I just want you. But I'm okay with the fact that doing something long term and making a family with someone doesn't have to mean forever, and if it doesn't mean forever, it's not a tragedy.
Well, hello, Dahlia.
Hello.
I'm really looking forward to this because a lot has happened since you last updated everyone.
Yeah, so last time we talked, I was just about to move to another state. My boyfriend recently had a baby and said that he was staying with his wife, and essentially convinced me that he was never going to pick me over her, and it was a dead end. So I left. And that was about 3 months ago. And
it seems like forever ago, though.
Really stopped talking. We were kind of supposed to do that, and we didn't do that.
Yeah, and this is like constant communication between you two. And, if people don't remember, this person, what were we calling your boyfriend? John, yeah, so John was married. John had a child with this woman.
Married to,
what did we call her?
What's her name?
Yeah, what is her name?
I don't remember his wife's name.
I mean, we could give her a name. I think it should start with S. And I think it should probably be Sigrid. I don't think we really focus that much on Sigrid as a person. Can you talk a little bit before you go forward in the story? Tell us a little bit about who she is and what your relationship with her was like.
Okay. That's actually a really hard question to answer because I don't think I ever really understood who she was or who she is. In the beginning, she was the one that initiated this whole thing. So she's the one that said, I have this guy that I know and may or may not already be having sex with. So I want us to have a polyamorous marriage because I want to have sex with him a lot. So that was how this started. And then he met me, and it was this sort of, we were in this honeymoon period of poly sister wives perfection. So,
yes,
she would go out with her boyfriend, and he would go out with me. And
she would go on the private jet.
So we'd have family get-togethers. We did holidays together. We did, like, a Christmas party together. But there was sort of this dark side to her that I never really understood. I never really got, to talk to enough other people about her. But since then, sort of cracks started to form in this foundation. Like, I would get annoyed because every time I wanted to do something with him, whenever I wanted to do something, he would just be like, I'd say, oh, can we do something this weekend? And he would say, I have to ask permission, and then he would ask permission, and she would say, I'll get back to you, and it was impossible to plan anything. It just started to not work as well, and then something, I don't remember exactly what started it. I think it was our website. Like, we started this website, and she approved it, but then at some point she found the site, and she started reading it. And what bothered her wasn't the pictures, but the fact that it was, like, this love story.
Yeah.
She wasn't expecting, like, our porn website to be this kind of romantic, erotic story, and she sent an angry email to me saying that, like, I needed to back off.
So the website that you were referring to was a Tumblr pornographic blog, which is where you made your debut as an internet sex star, and it is the platform on which you have built your renown. So I'm guessing that it would not have helped the situation that you and John, had many, many, many followers who were following the story of you two very adoringly, and it was a very loving kind of thing.
Right. And in retrospect, going back through it, I can understand how it would upset her, but it's kind of like, it was her choice to, like, go look for it and find it and read it. Like, no one was making her do that. And
well, I mean, that's kind of the consequences of her own decisions, in a sense.
Exactly. So this was totally revealing her own insecurities about this whole thing. And now we're at a point where she has her boyfriend, and the way it started was she had this guy, and John didn't have anyone. And now he has someone, and he likes that someone a lot more.
You were recounting when he told you that his wife was pregnant for a second time. So during the pregnancy, what were things like between all of you?
Before she even told anyone, it was starting to get bad. The pregnancy happened right where things were starting to go really downhill. So finally one day she says, how about Dahlia and I just go to dinner? And I was like, okay. So John just went out to a party with his friends, and it was awkward. It's not super comfortable, but we can make this work. And I didn't know it at the time, but she was pregnant. After that, he told me, and we went through that whole discussion last time about what that did to me.
Yes.
So telling me the pregnancy was planned. I know a little bit more about it now, but at the time, all I knew was that, we tried, and this happened.
And you were not consulted at all?
I was not consulted at all. She is so incredibly controlling. So that was his reasoning for making a baby, because I think she sensed these cracks starting to form. And this is completely 100% my opinion and other people's opinion. But this was her way of reeling him back in. And they were, like, drunk, which is not an excuse, but they were. And so he did it.
Was Sigrid successful in keeping John in her life or attached to her by having another baby?
You would think that, but that strategy doesn't always work. As much as people try to get revenge babies to work, not always the case. So what actually happened was, that pregnancy started about a year and something ago. So that carried through to January of this year. So he was born, and I was still around. We had to slash back our time. Mm-hmm. But, we did the best that we could emotionally, just trying to sort of separate. As you know, it didn't go that well. So at this point, I'm still hanging on despite the fact that I have no idea when I'm going to see him. I have no idea how much time I'm going to get with him. And I'm just hanging on because I love him so intensely that I can't do anything else. At that point, I'm thinking, and he's telling me, this is all this can ever be, so I moved. And since then, I guess we thought we could do this whole not being together thing. It's unsustainable.
So since the birth of this new child in January, and you moving away, instead of simmering down, the whole situation, if anything, has just ramped up in the past few months. So explain that.
Yeah, so what was supposed to happen was that he sort of tried to push me away, like he encouraged me to go on dates. And meanwhile, you heard the stories. I'm going on these dates that are just completely useless. Am I not having a good time because I legitimately don't like these people, or because I'm just totally mentally blocked? And, like, I developed a friendship with someone else, and I never knew if I was attracted to him or not attracted to him, or maybe I should be attracted to him, but I'm not because I'm still in love with John. Really? I have to give credit to that guy because he was sort of the impetus for this whole thing happening, because I kept telling John about him, and every time I told John about him, I was sort of filtering it, making him sound like he's way worse than he probably is. I would only talk about, like, oh, he's so annoying, whatever, but I was still inviting him over here all the time to, like, watch
You
TV.
Totally were, yeah.
I was complete mixed signals all over the place. And then John is hearing, oh, this guy is so annoying, but he's coming over for, like, the fifth time this week. He was so stressed out. And then his wife could sense that, and then she just started reading his phone.
Well, before we move on and go head on into the drama, give us a little bit of information about this other person who you have developed somewhat of a friendship with. He is what we call a milady. So can you explain that?
So, a milady is a sort of hybrid concept built off of guys on the internet. There's this meme about guys on the internet that wear fedoras and respond to OkCupid messages primarily with, like, really weirdly specific compliments, and then if you don't accept it in exactly the way that they want, they just get angry at you and, like, think that you're putting them in the friend zone. It's a sort of original archetype of the milady, and then Amy Schumer took this in her sketch to the next level by saying these are sort of weird hobbit-like men who are unable to interpret female signals and think that they can just keep acting weirdly appreciative of you, and then you'll fall in love with them.
They're sort of socially awkward male doormats.
Yeah. So, like, in the sketch, it's just like, yeah, this guy helped me move into my boyfriend's place last weekend. Yeah.
So, talk about this person. I believe his name is Barney, correct?
His name is Barney,
Yeah, so tell us about Barney. Yeah, he really likes you. He really likes you.
Yeah. I was in the zone where I think I was just such a mess and just lonely enough to sort of absorb that as male attention.
Well, sometimes a good milady is what you need to get your feelings of yourself into a higher place.
Yeah, but it's not like he wasn't warned. I mean, I told him over and over again, like, I don't want to hurt you.
Oh, he absolutely was warned.
Like, not going to end well. Like, it's not a good idea. But then I was giving him mixed signals. I get that. But he kept saying, like, oh, no, it's my decision if I'm going to get hurt. I'm like, but I still don't want to be that asshole.
In classic milady style, he would text you at all hours of the day. He would be available for you should you ever want him. He would leave you handwritten notes on your doorstep. He would show up at your door at all hours of the day, basically serving himself up as your slave.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. I would get the other side of the milady, which is, fight them, you will get slapped in the face on the way out.
It's like, the spurned milady.
They turn on you.
So actually, your milady, Barney, he catalyzed the next phase in your relationship with John and Sigrid. So explain that.
He did, yeah. So I was hanging out with him, and I told John about this, and John sort of transitioned from saying, I don't know why you keep inviting him over. Like, if you don't want anything to happen, like, it could actually be dangerous, tell him to leave. Like, don't keep having him over. And then he sort of switched over to, but what if she does like him? And what if I'm just the reason that she's not going for it because she's, like, afraid of my feelings? So then at one point he just told me, he's like, I think that's what this is, that you're just holding back because of me, and I don't think you should. And I just, like, I was totally brainwashed by that. I'm like, okay, I guess. So then I said, flipped the switch on the milady and had him over again. I was like, okay, I'll give this a try. So I just, like, sort of tuned out John for a while. I think he always senses what's going on, so he knew. So he's freaking out on his end, even though I hadn't said anything. And Barney's here, and it was just like the usual. We got drunk and had, like, PG-13 kisses. And I felt
Let's be honest, you tongued his face hard.
I really felt nothing. Like, I'm lonely enough to appreciate it, but I really, like, I told you, like, the thought of actual sex with him was just like,
Yeah,
no. And
you're-
again, I don't know if it's because I'm attracted to him or because I'm really, really attracted to someone else. Probably a combination of both. Really hard to shut him a lady down after that. And then the next day, John, with his sensors tingling, he just sort of knew, and I don't even know what happened. I think I just told him. And in the same time period, Sigrid, is that her name?
Sigrid.
Sigrid. So Sigrid is reading his phone. They went back and forth on this. He said, like, no, you can't read my phone. I mean, there's nothing in it. It was just, I mean, talking about this is the most, like, scandalous thing.
Yeah.
But this was enough. It wasn't us, like, sexting, you know?
Yeah.
It was just, like, talking about stuff like this, how I'm going to move on in school and whatever. But she's reading his phone. He says no and puts a password on it, and that just made it worse. So you put a password on it, that means you're definitely, like, doing something she should know about.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, turn the password off, and just hands her his phone. So every day she's just reading his phone now. And she came across this, and I think she just sensed how upset he was about it and how he's clearly never going to feel that way about her again. And it was like they actually had a really good day. Like, they did all this family stuff together. They went fishing. It was a really good day. And at the end of the day, she has to grab the phone. She just says, you know what, it's time to move on. And then the next day, she totally went back and switched over into begging and pleading and saying they should change their minds. And he just said, no, I think you were right the first time.
Yeah.
So now they have the first child and the second child, which was brought into all this madness. And I'm gone. I'm 200 miles away. It didn't quite click for me at first what was happening when he told me, because I'm so in the mindset that, like, okay, I'm gone, like, this is over, even though this is happening. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's good because they were really unhappy.
Yes.
What do we do now? Like, you get the outcome that you want, but it's too late. I'm just like, okay, this should have happened, like, forever ago, and I was just sad. I was sad for him, I was sad for her, I'm sad for the kids. It was intentionally shutting me down.
What about the new child? You know, like we've said, this child was kind of planned to save this marriage. It didn't.
Yeah.
You know, what kind of family or what family situation is this new child going to be growing up into?
They're going to have shared custody in one way or another. I don't know what exactly the split's going to be. I mean, honestly, knowing how she's behaved before this, I forgot the name again.
Sigrid. You're having some memory problems tonight, aren't you, Dahlia?
I am. So, based on how she's behaved before this and immediately in the aftermath, I think she's not fit to have primary custody. Just based on child psychology, the way that she's behaving is absolutely damaging to them. I understand that she's probably not super high maturity, but there's kids involved. And the language that you use around them and the behavior you use around them, especially really little kids, matters. And they're listening all the time. And if you say, here's an example, the way she broke this to Griselda is Dan handed her this long letter detailing, like, how sad he was and how tragic this was. After she said she wanted her partner, it just, like, broke all affection that he had for her. Like, whatever was left, her saying, I need to, like, approve to cheat on you. Like, he's a monogamous person, and that it didn't work. Yeah. So that was really the factor that started the ball rolling. But he said he gives her this letter, and she's crying. And finally, she's just like, "Oh, well, should we tell Griselda?" And he just sort of shrugs. So she sits the kid down and says to her, "Daddy's leaving us, Griselda. There's not going to be anyone to help us plow the snow. There's not going to be anyone to help around the house. Daddy doesn't love me anymore, and he's leaving." That's how they broke the news.
Oh God.
So. It's only gotten worse since then. So I would say, if everyone's behaving normally, this could be a perfectly fine situation for them. There's going to be some shuttling around. They're going to have two houses, and they're going to probably come down here every once in a while and still have a relationship with me. But that's all okay if their parents are able to get along, yes. Which is questionable, at least right now.
You know, it seems like Sigrid does view the children or uses them kind of instrumentally for her own purposes, in addition to creating another child. Do you think that she may or has used the children as pawns?
Yeah. I mean, and she has, and she continues to, and he will not fight that battle. So she cares, she loves the kids, and she cares for them. It's just I don't know if she's qualified to do this, like, on her own, as in having time with those kids on her own. She barely functions with them by herself. Even so far, when she's had the kids alone, she's taken them to her parents. She's taken one to daycare and kept the other one. She's struggling. She has no idea how to live on her own. And I do feel sorry for her because of that. And is she going to fuck up those kids? Probably. Really, this entire time, he had no feelings for her.
Does John really fear that Sigrid would physically attack him?
He seems to, and I don't think it's totally unreasonable. As you know, historically, and on Lifetime, women have many ways to physically overpower and murder their husbands.
Indeed. I mean, first thing that comes to my mind is, in this situation, maybe something like samurai sword.
There was a period where he was sleeping in the only other locked room in their house, on the floor, on the concrete, because it had a lock. Like, I'm a home wrecker, she's a cheater, he's also a cheater, I guess. I don't know. But
I mean, and he lied to you many times.
Yeah, he never lied.
I think he misrepresented the situation.
To who?
To you. He said, I'm never going to be totally available to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't completely true.
Yeah.
And obviously that's the situation you're dealing with now when you find out, you've been operating under this assumption for so many months and you've been making some pretty big decisions based upon that assumption. And now you've come to find out that's not exactly...
Well, I've said that to him too, and his defense is that he really thought that he could make this work.
Can you fault him for, for example, I think he intimated to you that he did have no feelings for his wife, and then he went and consensually created another child with this person.
Right.
Do you fault him for that?
Yes and no. If I have one kid, then I'm kind of already stuck with her, so she doesn't really, we planned for two.
And so where does this leave you now in this situation?
So moving forward, he said, yeah, I want to be with you. For real. But how is that even going to work? Because I'm here. I mean, I'm not in California, but people make it work, do the best that we can. Long-term / short-term future is try and come up with some sort of custody arrangement. And once with the kids, she's going to basically be glued to his ex-wife forever.
Is basically where you and John are at is that while he's dealing with the unraveling of his marriage, that you guys are going to move forward trying to come up with a long-term relationship kind of situation?
Yeah, long-term, long-distance. It sounds like a terrible idea, but we're already joined at the hip anyway. That's just sort of what happens, and that's going to be his family, and I guess it's going to be my family now. Even after you sign the papers, you're never really disconnected from that person.
How do you let down the milady that you have acquired?
He said some shit about John that pissed me off, which is normal milady reactionary technique.
Correct. Yes.
And now, every interaction I have with him just gets steadily more annoying.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah, I've been studying for a test anyway. So I pretty much just tuned him out. It was a combination of I really was studying. I was busy all of the time. And also, I didn't really want to go out with him. I said something about John. He's like, oh, so is that why you're not hanging out with me? Because, you think I'm going to be weird? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what? I'm sorry. I like you. Before I tell he's one of those people that gets drunk and then blames whatever he says on being drunk, which is annoying.
So he's a Mel Gibson.
Your feelings all the time and then just getting drunk and saying them, then what is even the difference? I understand that I confused you, and I'm really sorry, but I'm officially, shutting this down now. Just full milady all the time, yeah.
Yeah, and so, but in your defense, I have been fairly critical of you when it comes to your handling of the milady, especially early on. However, in your defense, while you gave him indirect signals that were kind of mixed, at the same time, when you were speaking overt statements, you pretty much made it clear what your situation was. You never lied when it came to what you said.
Being a milady, he interprets things differently. So, we kissed twice, and I viewed it as, I could have lived without that. And he views it as, she really has feelings for me. And I'm like, no. But it was it really meant nothing to me. I'm sorry, I used you, and it didn't work.
And so is he still, skulking about, trying to get your affections?
Somewhat. Like, he's getting a little bit more passive-aggressive lately.
Great.
And just sort of, like, it's hard to explain. So, like, we went out last night with a group of people, though. Like, I specifically made sure with a group of people.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, he does this thing where he dominates the whole conversation. He just not stop talking, and now
That's
it's
obnoxious.
driving me sort of crazy. I don't think it used to drive me this crazy.
Oh,
And he texted me, like, after he got home. He's like, oh, sorry I was so annoying. Oh, no, you're not annoying. I love hanging out with you. Like, he's just, like, fishing for it.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's also exposing what a reservoir of low self-esteem he is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I really don't like him. Like,
Yeah.
I guess there are some people that like that, but I'm, like, the typical female, like, attracted to dangerous amounts of arrogance and self-confidence.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
He wants someone to build him up. I'm not that person.
Oh my God, you are so not that person. And also, let's be honest,
Kind of a pussy, right?
that's a lot of work.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
like, I think that's sort of a lady thing too, because we have like 5 things in common.
Then again, that's not really based on him actually knowing you that well.
No, it's not. Like, if he wrote a movie about this, it would just be about his life and how like he met this girl and she just changed him.
What is in the foreseeable future in terms of you and John trying to find a post-separation kind of situation, and also between him and Sigrid? I mean, what are the milestones that are coming up in the next few weeks and months?
So the current, like, immediate reality is she's really revealing herself to be sort of really incendiary and in combination with being not so smart or educated and trying to deal with what is essentially a legal process of disconnecting from someone when kids are involved. It's just not working out well for her. So, like, these websites that say 10 things not to do in a divorce, she's done all of those things.
Oh,
She posted on Facebook, I never imagined that I would have married the type of man that after 16 years together, 10 years married, a 5-year-old and a 6-month-old would leave me for another woman.
Yeah, and of
Which is
course,
just purely, I mean, she can do whatever she wants. It's her Facebook, but it's just purely attention grabbing,
yeah.
getting ahead of the story. And she's already posted on Facebook her coming out as polyamorous status. She posted, like, you know, our family photo at New Year's Eve, which is just the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Like, people who know the story are kind of suspicious of that, I hope. She's crazy. She's alienated him from all of his friends. He has, like, no friends now other than me.
But it's interesting because her behavior that has served to isolate John from his friends, you know, the less social connections he had, instead of making him more reliant on her, it probably increased the amount of closeness between you and him, ironically, for Sigrid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in any case, she's sending these emails, this list that says that she wants the house signed over to her, all the furniture, the kids, except for 2 days a month, he can have them for overnight, everything in their savings account, their cars, child support, which the number she came up with is about 3 times the value that would be state mandated, even if she had full custody, and alimony.
Oh, my God.
Some ridiculous number, and no, alimony is, like, not even really a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Unless, like, for stay-at-home moms who have no job training, like, they'll make them pay alimony for a year or so they can, like, go to school. She's like, I have no idea how you're going to make that work. But since you're leaving, you're going to have to. And you have the love of your life, Dahlia, and your parents.
And it's interesting because she is basically admitting that she is demanding so much from him that she is going to, you know, if he were to give in, he would have so little he would have to depend on others.
I guess. If you read this letter, I mean, she mentions the kids and that she's like, I want to keep them in the house, whatever. But everything else is, I want. I want all the money. I want all the furniture. I want the house. You don't just say how much child support you're going to get. It reveals just, like, I mean, just uneducated and not understanding the situation. It's these things that just indicate that she's not thinking about what's best for them. I know she thinks she is. She thinks she's, like, you know, lioness protecting her cubs, but she's really not.
Well, she probably believes that her interests are their interests, exactly.
Yeah. And that's actually a very dangerous form of parenting, thinking that your kids are yours and an extension of yourself.
Absolutely, and I can attest to that. Well, so,
yeah, exactly.
So,
that's just going to amplify.
Yeah. And Dahlia, so if I were to, so you said it's been about 3 months from our last talk on this program. If I were to ask you to guess what the situation will be like in another 3 months, what would you say?
Yeah, maybe I'll actually see him. Where we are now, it's not really safe. Like, even his lawyer was like, you should kind of hold off on that. Like, we were aware immediately, like, this is a dangerous thing. And I'm hoping it doesn't go to court. Most of these settle outside of court. But if she's really going to fight...
She's not starting out on a good foot in terms of what a future court may see her actions. I mean, it kind of seems like she's going rogue off a lot.
Yeah, she is. I mean, I don't want him to have to fight this in court. But if he does, he could, with the way she's behaving, he would. If he asked for it, get 100% custody. So she tries to put Griselda to bed. And Griselda's like, Mommy, I want Daddy to put me there. And she actually raises her voice, screams at this 5-year-old child. I don't know where he is, Griselda. Go find him yourself. She's like, Mommy, if we're going to the park today, is Daddy going to come with us? She's like, Griselda, Mommy and Daddy don't love each other anymore. We don't do things together anymore. Is that appropriate for a 5-year-old?
In my non-clinical opinion, I'm going to say no. Yeah. Oh, my God.
And the other day, she starts sniping at John in, like, the middle of the room with Griselda right there. And the kid looks up and she's like, I think you guys should be nice to each other. And she's just like, well, we don't like each other anymore. So as long as we have to live in the same house together, we're going to fight.
Well, Dahlia, I'm glad that I don't have to deal with your situation.
Yeah.
It'll be a big few months for you. There will be many changes, and of course you'll also have to focus on your studies and fending off your milady. So there was a lot on your plate.
So much going on. But think about what this is going to mean for my internet sex stardom, because...
Well, I was going to say, I was going to ask about that.
We're seriously discussing plans to get it back and running.
Oh my God, I was totally going to ask you that, and I forgot. Awesome. So your internet sex stardom will continue to flourish. Dahlia, thank you so much for coming on Memory Lane and giving us an update into your almost unbelievable life.
Almost unbelievable.
And maybe we'll get an update in another few months when the story takes another crazy turn.
Yeah, so let's see if my predictions come true. But, I would do anything for him.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.